Shalom, shalom. Welcome to our Sabbath class. How's everybody doing?
Shalom.
All right. Shalom. So as always, we have class on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let's jump right into it and start with the lesson.
Okay, shalom, everybody. What I'm doing today is I'm dealing with I'm just connecting some dots. So the name of the video is connecting the dots in Tanakh. I noticed I watched a series of videos like over the last month or two, and the videos, they did a good job on the videos, but it had some truths in there, but it had some untruths, and so I want to shed light on the untruths because they can lead you all down the wrong road if you don't understand that they are untruths. So the three videos that I had watched that I want to talk about a little bit is the first one is Black History in Plain Sight, part 1 and 2, and then the second one was from Babylon to America, and then the third one was the Two Witnesses. And so the first one is I'm going to deal with the first one, first video, and it was Black History in Plain Sight, and they talked about H.R. 1242, the bill that acknowledging that we've been here for 400 years, which is in Genesis chapter 15. Okay, but so part one was it was good, and it had a lot of good information in there, and it shed a light on a lot of stuff. And so I'm kind of dealing with part 2 because they brought up Romans chapter 9 verses 27 to 33. And so that when I saw that, it kind of stuck out to me. So that's what I'm gonna deal with. So the first thing is that Isaiah Romans 9 chapter 9 verses 27 through 33 is just talking about Isaiah chapter the book of Isaiah. And so my thing is that what you have to understand is Isaiah is not talking to the Hebrews of today or the Jews of the day. Isaiah is talking to, he's addressing the Hebrews who are in the captivity that's in Babylon during his time. All right, and so what it's dealing with is what Romans is dealing with. Chapter 9 is dealing with it's the captivity. Isaiah is dealing with the captivity that's the prophecy of Jeremiah, or the 70 years that they're supposed to be in Babylon. And that's in Jeremiah chapter 25, 11 through 12. I'm gonna read it right quick. So if you don't know this, then you get laid off down the wrong road. But it says 25, 11 and 12 says, "And this whole land shall be a desolation and astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years. And it shall come to pass, when 70 years are accomplished, that I will punish the king of Babylon in that nation, said the Lord, for their iniquity in the land of the Chaldeans, and I will make it a perpetual desolation." So this is what Isaiah is dealing with. Isaiah is telling the Israelites that after the 70 years, after the Babylonian captivity is over with, they're going to be delivered. So I'm going to read Romans chapter 9, and then I'm going to do a comparison and contrast. Okay, Romans chapter 9, verses 27 through 33 says, "Isaiah also cried concerning Israel, through the number of the children of Israel be as the sands of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. for he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because the short work will the Lord make upon the earth. And as Isaiah said before, except the Lord of the Sabbath have left us a seed, we have been as Sodom, we would have been as Sodom and made like unto Gomorrah. What shall we say then? That the Gentiles which follow not after righteousness have obtained to righteousness, even the righteousness which is of faith. But Israel which followeth after the law of righteousness have not obtained to the law of righteousness. Wherefore, because they sought it not by faith, but as it were by works of the law, for they stumbled at that stumbling stone. As it is written, behold, I lay in Zion a stumbling stone and a rock of offense, and whosoever believeth on him shall not be ashamed. So now what I'm going to do is break that down. Let me see. So what I want to do is, first of all, I'm going to explain to you. I said earlier that Isaiah is not talking to us, right? And Jeremiah not talking to us. So if we go to Jeremiah chapter 1, I'm going to read verses 1 through 3. And then I'm going to read Isaiah chapter 1. Jeremiah chapter 1 says, okay, 1 through 3, it says, the word of Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah, the priest that were in Antioch, in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of the Lord came in the days of Joshua, the son of Ammon, king of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign. It came also in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Joshua, king of Judah, unto the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, unto the carrying away of Jerusalem captive in the 5th month. So we see right here in Jeremiah 1 that Jeremiah is talking to the captives that's on their way to Babylon, and people that existed during the time of Josiah and his son Jehoiakim and Zedekiah. You're not talking to us. So go to Isaiah chapter 1. It says, the vision of Isaiah, the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. So what Jeremiah is dealing with is a time period which is during the time of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah. And we know that they went into the Babylonian captivity during the time of Isaiah. So he's talking to the captive that's in Babylon. He's not talking to, you see countless of scholars and pastors and Morays and everybody else referring Isaiah to today, but he's not talking to us. Neither is Jeremiah. So I'm going to read Romans chapter 9, verse 27. I'm going to break it down verse by verse to show you what I'm talking about. Verse 27 says, Isaiah also cried concerning Israel. This is what Paul wrote, right? Because he wrote the book of Romans. Isaiah also cried concerning Israel. Though the number of the children of Israel be as the sands of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. So if you go to Isaiah chapter 10, remember, he's not talking to us. Isaiah chapter 10, verse, I'm going to start at verse 20. And it shall come to pass in that day, back then, that a remnant, see, he ain't talking about no remnant today, that the remnant of Israel and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob shall no more again stay upon him that smote them. The Babylonians smote them. But shall they stay upon the Lord, the Holy One of Israel in truth. The remnant shall return. They in Babylon. Even the remnant of Jacob unto the mighty God. For though the people of Israel be as the sands of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness. For the Lord God of hosts shall make a consumption, even determined in the midst of all the land. So we see, he's talking about the captives that's in Babylon. You can't even equate that to today. So Romans chapter verse 28 says, "For he will finish the work and cut it short in the righteousness, and because a short work will the Lord make upon the earth." 29, "And as Isaiah said, Behold, except the Lord of Sabbath had left us a seed, we had been at Sodom and been made like unto Gomorrah." So we go to Isaiah chapter 1, verse 9. This is where Paul got this verse from. Chapter 1, I'm going to start at verse 8. "And the daughter of Zion is left as a cottage in the vineyard, as a lodge in the garden of cucumbers, as a besieged city." And then verse 9, "Except the Lord of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been at Sodom, and we should have been likened unto Gomorrah." So we see that this word for word from this verse right here. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to show you where we at. I'm going to go back to verse 1 of Isaiah chapter 1. "The vision of Isaiah, the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord hath spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. The ox knoweth his owner, the ass his master's crib. But Israel do not know it, my people do not consider. A sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They have gone away backwards. Why should ye be stricken any more? You will revoke more and more. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart faint. From the sole of the foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and purifying sores. They have not been clothed, neither bound up, neither mollified with armor. For your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Your land, strangers devour it in presence, and it is desolate as overthrown by strangers. And the daughter of Zion is left as a cottage in the vineyard, as a lodge in the garden, a garden of cucumbers, as a besieged city." So we see right here, they in captivity. They in Babylon. And there's a remnant that's left there in the land. So he's talking to the captives that's in Babylon. He's not talking to the Hebrews of the day, the ones that's in America, or in the Caribbean, or nowhere else. So now I want to deal with Romans 9, and I'm going to read from 30 to 33, but I'm going to put an emphasis on verse 33 to sum this up. It says 30. "Why shall we say then that the Gentiles which follow not after righteousness have obtained to righteousness, even the righteousness which is of faith? But Israel, which followeth after the law of righteousness, have not obtained to the law of righteousness. Wherefore, because they sought it not by faith, but as it were, sought it by the works of the law, for they stumbled at the stumbling stone, as it is written." See? So now he's going back to the Tanakh. "As it is written, Behold, I lay in Zion a stumbling stone, a rock of offense, and whosoever believeth on him shall not be ashamed." So this rock of offense, according to Paul, is Yahushua, or Jesus, whatever you want to call him. And so he says, believing on him shall not be ashamed. This him is Yahushua, so-called Jesus. So let's go to, so this verse, he got this verse, he's quoting, and he plagiarized this verse right here from Psalms 118. Let's go to Psalms 118. And I'm going to show you who the stone of offense is. Okay? Psalms 118, verse 22. I'm going to go up a couple verses to 20. This gate of the Lord into which the righteous shall enter, I will praise thee, for thou hast heard me and art become my salvation. The stone, this stone that Paul talked about, which the builders refused, is become the headstone or the cornerstone. This is the Lord's doing. It is marvelous in our eyes. This is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Save now, I beseech thee, O Lord, O Lord. I beseech thee, send now prosperity. Blessed be he that cometh in the name of the Lord. We have blessed you out of the house of the Lord. God is God. God is Lord, which have showed us light. Bind the sacrifice with cords, even unto the horns of the altar. Thou art my God. I will praise thee. Thou art my God. I will exalt thee. Oh, give thanks unto thee, Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever. So if you go back to the beginning of this psalm, David wrote it. David wrote Psalms 18. So David is the one that's talking. And so David is a stone that's, when you understand who the Messiah is, David is the stone of offense. Psalms 83 tells you that because he said that he took Israel out of, go to Psalms 83. It says, David wrote this song. Asaph wrote it pertaining to David. Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace. Be not still, O God, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult. They that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may no more be in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, the Ishmaelites, the Moabites, the Hagarenes, Gebal, Ammon, Amalek, the Philistines, and the inhabitants of Tyre. So they all got together and they wanted to take the Lord of hosts out of the scriptures. Take away the name of Israel. Israel's name is in the Lord of hosts, and the Lord of hosts chose David. David is his Messiah. So the stone of offense is David that the Lord of hosts chose. Let me put a little more emphasis on it. Go to Ezekiel 37, verse 24. This is the dry bones in the valley. So it says in 24, and David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd, and they shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob, my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children, and their children's children forever. For my servant David shall be the prince over them. So we see right here that David is the rock of offense. It's not Yahushua. Let me give you one more verse. Daniel. Daniel 7, 13 and 14. And I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him, and there was given him a dominion. There's only one dominion in Israel, David's dominion, throne of David, and there was given him a dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. Same hymn that's in 33 or Romans 9 says, and there was given him a dominion, a glory, and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages shall serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So we see it's David. So I want to go to the second video, which is, I don't know if you heard of this video. You can check it out. It's from Babylon to America, right? And so it's a good video, but like I've said, it's got some holes in it. So the point I'm bringing out is that he got to the end of the video. He was dealing with the four beasts that's in Daniel, and at the end of in Daniel chapter, in Daniel chapter 2, verse 34 and 35, it tells you the stone came. I'm going to read it. Thou sawest till a stone was cut out with our hands, which smote the image upon his feet, that were iron and clay, and break them in pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, the gold, broken into pieces together, and became like the chaff of a summer threshing floor. And the wind carried them away, but no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. So they tell you that in according to Christian jargon, is that the stone is Christ, and that when Christ died on the cross, then the church was formed. And then from the time he was crucified, the church grew, which is pertaining to the mustard seed. It's the mustard seed is little, but once you plant it in the ground, a big tree grow up out of it. So this is the interpretation they're giving you of this Daniel chapter 2, verse 34 and 35. But I beg to differ. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Daniel. Go to Daniel chapter 7. So the thing is, the angel came to Daniel and gave him an interpretation and said, told him who those four beasts was. He told him that the head was Babylon, the arms folded in the chest was the Medes and Persians, and the waist down to the knees, the skirt was the Greeks, and the and the legs and the feet and the toes were the Roman Empire. So I'm going to pick that up in Daniel chapter 7, verse 15. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the vision of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me to know the interpretation of the things. Now here we go. 17. These great beasts, which are the four beasts, not 5, not 6, are 4 kings which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even and forever. So Daniel was telling you that the stone at the end of this beast is the saints of the Most High that's going to take the kingdom, which we know is David's kingdom. So who is these saints? Like I said, go to Isaiah 37. And then Daniel tells Ezekiel, the Lord tells Ezekiel that he's going to raise up these bones, his ancestors out of their ground. And then verse 11 says that, verse 10 says, so I prophesied as he commanded me, and breath came into them, and they lived, and they stood upon their feet, and exceeding a great army. Then said he unto me, Son of man, these bones of the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say our bones are dried, and our hope is lost. We are cut off from our parts. So, and then he goes on to 12. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, O my people, I will open up your graves, cause you to come up out of your graves, and bring you into the land of Israel. And ye shall know that I am the Lord when I have opened up your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves, and put my spirit in you, and you shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall you know that I am the Lord, that I have spoken it, performed it, said the Lord. So this mountain that's in Daniel chapter 34, Daniel chapter 30, chapter 2, verse 35 says, chapter 2 and 35 says, Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, the gold, broken into pieces together by this army that the Most High raised up in Ezekiel 37, became like the chaff of the summer threshing floor, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found of them. And the stone I'm telling you is not Yahushua, that smote the image, which is this army, became a great mountain. That's when he bring all us back back to Israel, and to the land of Israel, and fill the whole earth. It's not talking about Yahweh. So, you know, like I said, the guy did a good job on the video, but at the end he went to the left because he said the stone was Yahweh, and when Yahweh was crucified, he created the church, and the church is this mountain that grew. But that's not the case. And so I wanted to shed a light on that. Okay? And so in the last video I watched was it called Two Witnesses. And like I said, the guys, you know what I mean, in Babylon, the Temple in Babylon to America, and the Two Witnesses, they had a lot of good graphics. But they turned the story. When they tried to put Yahweh in the picture, the story changed. They turned the story. So this guy saying that in this video, the Two Witnesses, he says that he proclaims that the Two Witnesses are none other than the Jews, the Edomites of the day that when Israel became a nation back in 1948, and the Gentiles were drafted in when Christ died on the cross. They were brought in according to Paul. So I beg to differ on that. So what I want to show you is the two witnesses, the real two witnesses. The two witnesses these two witnesses come about because of the Most High have a covenant with David. The king comes out of David, and he has a covenant with Aaron, and the high priest comes out of Aaron's lineage. So let me explain it to you. Go to Zechariah chapter 4. And so the setting that's going on in Zechariah chapter 4 is, like I said earlier in the first video, our ancestors are in Babylon in captivity, and the Most High have to deliver them out of Babylon, and he can't do that unless he returned the king from David's lineage, and he returned the high priest from Aaron's lineage back to their proper position before he can deliver us. So they're in Babylon, and they need to be delivered. So let's look at it. Chapter 4. The angel comes to Zechariah, and then he asks him a question. He asks him twice. The first time he asks him is verse 3 of chapter 4 of Zechariah. And the two olive trees by it, one upon the right side of the bowl and the other upon the left side thereof. So I answered and spake to the angel that talked with me, saying, What are these, my Lord? Then the angel that talked with me answered and said unto me, Knowest thou not what these be? And I said, No, my Lord. Okay, the angel asked the same question come up again, starting in verse 11. Then answered I and said unto him, What are these two olive trees upon the right side of the candlestick and upon the left side thereof? And I answered again and said unto him, What be these two olive branches, which through the two golden pipes empty the golden oil out of themselves? And the angel answered me and said, Knowest thou not what these be? And I said, No, my Lord. Then said he, These are the two anointed ones, two witnesses that stand by the Lord of the whole earth. So what is he talking about? Once a year, the Day of Atonement, the high priest and the king goes into the Holy of Holies and stand before the Lord of hosts for atonement for the whole nation of Israel. These are the two anointed ones. So it's not two trees. It's not the Edomites, and it's not
the Gentiles.
So I'm going to close out with this verse right here to seal the deal. Malachi. And this, what I'm getting ready to read, chapter 4, Malachi hasn't happened yet. We're waiting on this to happen. So, and like I said before in Isaiah, they was in captivity in Babylon, and they needed to be delivered. So he had to bring forth the king from David's lineage and the high priest from Aaron's lineage. So too are we in captivity. And we know, according to all the events that's taking place, we're getting ready to be delivered. So we're supposed to be expecting these two anointed ones show forth themselves. So, with that being said, I'm in Malachi chapter 4. We read the whole chapter, 6 verses. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, all that doeth wickedly shall be stubbled. And the day cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. Ye shall go forth and grow up as calves in a stall, and ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of our feet in the day that I shall do this, saith the Lord of hosts. Remember ye the laws of Moses my servant, which I commanded him unto Hebron for all Israel, with the statutes and judgment. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great dreadful day of the Lord. Elijah, in case you didn't know it, is out of the lineage of Aaron. Right? And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. So in verse 6 we see that he says, he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children. Well, who is our fathers? The Most High didn't raise them up in Ezekiel 37. And we being the children, the remnant that's left, that's misguided, going to return to the fathers. So we see that Elijah in verse 5 is out of Aaron's lineage. Well, where the king is? Go back to verse 2. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calf to the stall. So who is this Son of Righteousness that's going to rise with healing in his wings? Go to 2 Samuel. We know that during David's lifetime here on earth, David shed a lot of blood in his obedience toward doing what the Most High had him to do. But let's see what happened to him after he passed. He says, I'm going to start at verse 1. I'm in chapter 22 of 2 Samuel. And David spake unto the Lord the words of this song in the day that the Lord had delivered him out of the hands of all his enemies and out of his hands of Saul. And he said, the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, the God of my rock, in him will I trust. He is my shield and the horn of my salvation, my high tower, my refuge, my Savior. Thou savest me from violence. Now let's look at verse 4. I will call upon the Lord who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. When the waves of death, that's when he passed, compassed me, the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. The sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. In my distress I called upon the Lord, and I cried to my God. And he did hear my voice out of his temple, and my cry did enter into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations of heaven moved and shook, because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of the midst of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured, coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub and did fly, and he was seen upon the wings of the wind. And he made darkness a pavilion round about him, dark waters and thick clouds of the sky. Through the brightness before him were coals of fire kindled. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice, and he sent out arrows and scattered them lightning and discomfited them. And the channels of the sea appeared. The foundations of the world were discovered at the rebuking of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils. He sent from above. He took me, David. He drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemies and from them that hated me, for they were too strong for me. They prevented me in the day of my calamity when he died. But the Lord was my stay. He brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. The Lord, here we go, Hebrews. The Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness, and according to my cleanliness of my hands have he recompensed me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord, and have not wickedly departed from my God. For all his judgments were before me, and as for his statutes, I did not depart from them. I was also upright before him, and I have kept myself from my iniquities. 25. Therefore the Lord hath recompensed according to my righteousness, according to my cleanliness, in his eyesight. With mercy thou wilt show thyself mercy, and with thy upright man thou wilt show thyself upright. So we see right here, after David died, the Most High recompensed righteousness on him. All David's sins and the blood that David had shed passed away. He recompensed righteousness on him. So when you go back to Malachi, chapter 4, verse 2, but unto thee that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves and stars. So they're going to use these other witness. David is in verse 2, and Elijah in verse 5. That conclude my class for the day. So, you got any questions, or we can ask them now. Got any questions? Hello?
Question.
Okay, yeah. So somebody's phone is.
So we gotta go on the Q&A.
Yeah. I got a statement. Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of people. When you read Daniel chapter 2, like he was saying earlier, a lot of people take chapter 2 and make it as if it's an interpretation. I don't know if anybody on the line is familiar with that, but a lot of people, and I've heard people teach on Daniel chapter 2, and they talk about verse 34 and verse 35, where it says, thou sawest till the stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet, and were of iron and clay and break in pieces. And they use that, and they say, see, that interpretation, that's Jesus right there. And so clearly it's Daniel telling Nebuchadnezzar what the dream was. So how could you even use it as an interpretation if he's just simply telling Nebuchadnezzar what he dreamt? So, like you said earlier, you have to go to Daniel chapter 7 to get the interpretation, because that's where Daniel gets the interpretation. And that goes over a lot of people's head, and they agree with it, but you can't agree with it because he's simply just telling Nebuchadnezzar what he dreamt. And Daniel didn't even understand it when he was telling him what he dreamt. So how can you use that as an interpretation? I was just thinking about that just now when you had mentioned it.
Okay, this is a real quick question. Your lead-off statement kind of put a lot of things in perspective as it relates to, taking scriptures out of context. For the scenario and the 70 years that was being discussed, it was for that specific time. Can you talk a little bit about? I mean, I've heard so many, folks try to use Isaiah and all the prophecies that go on to try to, relate to other scenarios, with current day. So how deep does that rabbit hole go?
Yeah, it goes real deep because for the first of all, it's like you said, there's so many people. Pastors and rabbis, they use Jeremiah and Isaiah, and that's their way of connecting to the New Testament. But when you understand that Jeremiah, when you start out in chapter 1 of Jeremiah and chapter 1 of Isaiah, they tell you what what's going on with them, and that they dealing with the captives that's in Babylon. They're not dealing with us now. The captivity that we're dealing with today. And so when you understand that and you put that information in the proper place, it cuts off that connection to the New Testament. Because it has nothing to do with the New Testament whatsoever. He's talking about our forefathers that was disobedient to the Lord of hosts, and he caused them to go into captivity in Babylon. But not only did Jeremiah tell them they was going into captivity, he also said that you're going to be delivered. You know? And so there's prophecy surrounding that. And so when you say it's prophecy surrounding it, he told Jeremiah, said there's a day coming that I'm going to punish the king of Babylon, right? So what day is that? That's the day of the Lord. That day came. Let's read it. It's in Haggai. And so Haggai is living during the same time that Isaiah and Jeremiah is. You know, their lives interact with each other. So in Haggai, Zechariah lived during that same time too. So Haggai chapter, chapter 2, verse 20. He says, and again, the word of the Lord came unto Haggai in the 4th and 20th day of the month, saying, speak to Zerubbabel, governor of Judah, saying, I will shake the heavens and the earth, and I will overthrow the thrones of the kingdoms, and I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the heathen, and I will overthrow the chariots and those that ride in them, and the horses and the riders shall come down, every one by the sword of his brother. In that day, saith the Lord of hosts, I will take Zerubbabel, my servant, the son of Shethar, the son of, saith the Lord, and I will make thee a signet, for I have chosen thee, saith the Lord of hosts. So that day came to pass right here. That was the day of the Lord. At that time, it was prophesied about. Well, we also got another day of the Lord coming, when we are delivered out of America, out of Babylon, so-called Babylon here in America. We waiting on that day to come. That day is being prophesied right here in Malachi, chapter 4. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly shall be stubbled, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, said the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. And so that's how they're able to get away up until this point, was because of, you know, they have everybody thinking it's one day of the Lord, but it's prophecies that are leading up to each one of these days, and it's more than one day of the Lord. Every time we go into captivity, and the Lord had to punish the people, our oppressors, that's the day of the Lord when he comes. When he punished them, that's the day that the Most High pertains to when he says the day of the Lord. But you have to be able to, you have to be thinking like a Hebrew. You can't think like a Gentile in order to understand all that. And so that's the objective of these classes and our conversations and our interactions is to get around to that, to be able to see it and to put this in perspective and to observe everything in the same manner that our forefathers did with the Hebrew culture.
Right. So safe to say that most of the, in general, you should look at everything from a situational standpoint of right then, instead of, something in the future.
Right.
I've heard so many topics on, how many prophecies there are in the Old Testament and how many have been fulfilled. So it's like, okay, we got to go back and rethink all of that.
Right.
Just about all of them have been fulfilled.
Yeah, you got to deal with them. You got to deal with each one at a time and put it in perspective.
Yeah.
You know, and so you come to find out that just about all of them been fulfilled, except we at the point now where it's time for us to be delivered. We at that point where Daniel was at when you ain't got to go there. Let me read it right quick. In Daniel, we at the same juncture where Israelites is at in Daniel chapter 8. Let me read it right quick. Daniel chapter 9 says, in the first year of Darius, the son of Aarus, the seed of the Medes and Persians, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans, in the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books. That's what we doing. The number of years whereof the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah, the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in desolation of Jerusalem. So he told them that when they went into captivity, Jeremiah told them, serve the king of Babylon and his sons. So Nebuchadnezzar had 2 sons. Now we dealing with the second beast, which is Darius is the son of Cyrus. So Daniel, looking at the situation, 69 years have passed. He coming up on 70 years. So Daniel searching the scriptures out to find out. The time is up. The prophecy about the day of the Lord is almost here. We at that same point right now today. The 400 years, we right at 399 years. The 400 years is coming upon us fast. So what we know that the Most High, the Lord of hosts, is sure in everything that He said, and He brings it to pass. So we know that surely He's gonna bring these 400-year prophecy to pass, and we right up on it. So we should be making adjustments and preparing ourselves for it because it's coming.
Yeah, something else I noticed that a lot of times they say that, these prophets are prophesying, but some of the things that they say are statements. And, the New Testament like to, make it seem like some of the things that are said in the Old Testament, of course, we know is prophesying to JC, but it's not. And a perfect example is Hosea. Hosea chapter 11 and 1, it says, when Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt. Well, Hosea is not prophesying. He's making a statement about something that happened in the past. And if you go to another example, it's Hosea chapter 12, verse 3 and 4. It says, he took his brother by the heel in the womb, and by his strength he had power with God. Yea, he had power over the angel, and prevailed. He wept and made supplication unto him. He found him in Bethel, and there he spake with us. That's not a prophecy. That's something that happened in the past. But the New Testament will make it seem like this person is prophesying, and he's just simply making a statement. So I just wanted to put that out there too.
Well, right. Well, you have to understand that when they do that, like I was just saying earlier, that's their way of linking the Greek New Testament, which had nothing to do with us, with our records. Mm-hmm. So they use those different statements and sometimes prophecies to make the connection, but it's not a connection. And it's of the utmost importance that you're able to discern that and disconnect yourself from it, because it's no connection. That's the tactic and the technique they use in order to combine these two books that had nothing to do with each other.
Right. So like, for instance, the current state of Israel, I think they're either at or coming up on their 70th year anniversary. That's supposed to be a big, 70-year celebration that has to do with something. I don't know. It's all kind of convoluted there, but again, your point is well taken in that all those, for the most part, were just situational for what was happening that day, and that the prophetic nature of things to come are very short, narrow, not hundreds and 500s or so of prophecies that yet to be fulfilled.
Right. Yeah.
Can you?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Can you read Psalm 83 and put the Hebrew mindset on it and not the Gentile mindset on it? Because that's been really confusing for a lot of people.
Okay, let me do that. Okay, it says, keep not silent, O God. First of all, it says, in my Bible, it says, a song. These are songs. And Asaph wrote this song right here. Asaph was one of the heads of in the temple. He's a Levite. And so Asaph is writing this in accordance with David being the Messiah. So it says, keep not silent, O God, hold not thy peace, be not still, O God, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. So, who are these hidden ones? The 7 archangels that the Most High created. It's only certain people, the high priest and the seers, the prophets, they are interacting with these angels. Everybody else, they're not seeing them. That's why he's saying they're hidden. These are the hidden ones. I'm going to give you an example of that. Go to, hold that page, go to Ezekiel chapter 9. I'm going to show you these 7 angels. You say you would figure I just pulled this up out of the blue. But chapter 9 of Ezekiel says, this is the vision that Ezekiel had. It says, he cried also in mine ear with a loud voice, saying, cause them to have charge over the city to draw near. So you would assume that these are men that's in Israel. So it says, he cried in mine ear with a loud voice, saying, cause them to have charge over the city to draw near. Every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. And behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lieth toward the north, and every man a slaughter weapon in his hand, and one man among them clothed in linen, with a writer's ink on by his side, and they went in and stood beside the brazen altar. So they went in and stood behind the altar. We know that these angels. So it's one, and he's talking to 6. That's 7. That's the 7 angels that's in Zechariah. Let me go right quick to that, then I'm going to pick back up. I just want to show you these 7 hidden ones. So you go to Zechariah chapter 4, says, verse 10, for whoever despises the day of small things, for they shall rejoice and shall see the plummet in the hands of Zerubbabel with those 7. They are the eyes of the Lord which run to and fro in the whole earth. So that's the hidden ones that Asaph is talking about in Psalms 83. Verse 3. Now verse 4. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So why would they want to cut the name Israel off? Because Jacob wrestled with an angel. He wrestled with the Lord. His name is Michael. He changed Jacob's name to Israel. So if you take away his name, then you take away, you're taking away what the Lord did with Jacob. And that caused them not to be in remembrance no more. 5, for they have consulted together on one consent. They are confederate against thee. And so this confederacy is, when you look at it and understand, it's the tabernacle of Edom. Well, who is Edom? Edom is come from Esau. Well, Esau was rejected by the Lord of hosts. He rejected him, so it's hatred there. The Ishmaelites, Ishmael was rejected. Ishmael was rejected by the Lord because of Isaac. Then Moab was one of the sons that came forth from Lot sleeping with his two daughters. They was rejected by the Lord. So this confederacy that has got together, they have a mutual hatred for the Lord of hosts. And you keep reading them, it says 7. Gebal, Ammon. Ammon is the other son that from Lot. Amalek is from Esau, which is a product of Esau sleeping with a giant woman. Amalek is a giant. And the Philistines, they giants. Or they descended from the giant. With the inhabitants of Tyre, they giants. Asher also is joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot. Do unto them as thou hast to the Midianites, and to Sisera, and to Jabin at the brook of Kishon, which perishes at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Og and Zeb, yea, all their princes, and Zebah and Zuman, who said, let us take ourselves the houses of God in possession. So when you read all that, you see that the people that have got together in Psalms 83 are all the people that was rejected by the Lord, a host. When he was performing what the Most High had him to perform in order to bring Israel to where he wanted them to be. And so that's what Psalm 83 is all about. The hatred of the nations toward the Lord of hosts and toward his inheritance that the Most High gave him, which is Israel.
Well, I mean, I won't take up too much time, but you can see how different that interpretation is from mainstream evangelicals who think that there's a big war coming up called the Psalms 83 War.
Right.
Where there's a number of nations around Israel is going to create a confederacy to overtake Israel as it stands today. And that, you know, and it's really confusing.
That's because they're adding Revelation. They're reading Revelation and they're trying to tie the two together.
Right. Well, see, he says that and this is something that you have to get your mind around and you got to remember it, is that he said the oracles of God is given to the Israelites. Mm-hmm. So all these people thinking that, you know, the New Testament applies and that Gentiles have been brought in, so they think that they can come and bring forth the understanding of the Most High, but they can't. That's where the confusion coming in there. He says the oracles of God are given to the Hebrews. And so that's the purpose, the reason why we're awakening now, which is a prophecy of Isaiah 44, 1 through 5. He pouring the Spirit back out on the seed, Jacob's seed. They're the only ones that can bring forth the truth in righteousness. That's the oracles of God.
Right. Okay, man, that was good. Thanks.
All right. Anybody got anything else? Well, nobody had nothing to say. We're going to shut it down, close it down.
Very good, guys. Great lesson.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Okay, shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.